Hey guys, Cara here with Cara and Marc's Adventures. Today we are going to be canning hamburger. About 5 pounds of burger, so I'm going to do 2 onions. Add just a dab of oil before you put your onions in, just to prevent them from sticking to the pan. And then just let the onions simmer for a little bit before we add the burger. Alright, those have sauteed for a few minutes, so now we can go ahead and add the burger in. And we're not going to fully cook this through, we just want to kind of get it browned before we put it in the jars. We want it to be nice and warm. And this will also get a lot of the fat out, so we can drain that before we put it into the jars. Okay, so while the meat's cooking, I'm going to put my jars in the canner just to steam them a little bit and warm them up before we fill them. Okay, so the burger is all done and I already drained it. Now I'm just going to take my jars out that were steaming. Now you can just start filling your jars up to the 1-inch headspace. Okay, and now I'm going to add a teaspoon of canning salt to each jar. And then for the liquid, I am going to be just using hot water. You can use beef broth if you want, or whatever type of broth you want. Some people will do a mixture of water and beef broth, so whatever you prefer works just fine. And then you want to go around and make sure you get all of those air bubbles out. And now you want to take a little bit of vinegar and put it on a paper towel and just wipe all the rims so you don't have any fat or residue on there that would prevent your lids from sealing. And then while I have the vinegar out, I'm going to put a splash inside the canner, because that just helps your jars from getting that white line around them. And I had my lids just soaking in some hot water. They were brand new, so you don't have to boil them or sterilize them or anything. And now you can go ahead and put your rings on, and you want to go finger tight and then just a little bit further. You don't want them too tight or your jars will, or your lids will buckle. And now we're ready to start putting our jars in the canner. And the processing time for pint jars for hamburger is 75 minutes. If you're going to use quart jars, then you need to go for 90 minutes. And I'll be processing my jars at 12 pounds of pressure. You do need to check your elevation to see what you need to be canning at. Okay, so after you've washed your seal on your canning lid, you can go ahead and put that on. And then we're gonna crank this up to high. And now we just wait until the canner starts to steam enough that the top pops up. So our top is just about ready to pop up. There it goes. So now we'll set the timer for 10 minutes just to make sure that the steam is flowing nice and smooth and it doesn't have any of those like pauses in between it. And then we'll be ready to go ahead and put our weighted gauge on. Now we're gonna leave the burner on high until we get to 5 pounds, and then we'll slowly start decreasing the heat. And we wanna keep doing that until we get up to the 12 pounds of pressure. Again, just make sure you check your elevation and what you should be canning at. Okay, so we are at 12 pounds of pressure, so I'm going to set my timer for 75 minutes. Okay, so we are finished. I'm going to go ahead and shut the burner off. The pressure needs to go down to 0, and then the top needs to pop back down, and then we can go ahead and take the weighted gauge off.